You are never going to be able to feel good about yourself if you are constantly doing this one habit that is ruining your self-esteem.
Quit letting your younger self do the whole takeover. Instead, actually consider that feeling good and feeling good enough is a choice. And that choice is in your hands.
Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
Welcome back, Evolvers. It's Emilia.
If you clicked on this episode, which number one, we're glad you did. But if you clicked on this episode, it's because you are sick and tired of feeling bad about yourself. You're sick of never feeling enough. You're sick of feeling like no matter what you do and no matter how hard you try, you're just not feeling good within yourself. You're probably looking out into the world, seeing everybody else and comparing yourself, saying, why is it just me? Why does it feel like I'm the only one going through this? What we're going to be diving into today and the conversation that Emilia and I are going to have is, why does that keep happening? Why is it that you're having such a hard time feeling better, feeling good, feeling as though you are somebody important and that matters, and how to finally change that? I know this is not ever something you really struggled with, so it's going to be cool hearing from your perspective what this is like and how people can navigate it, because although you've never experienced it, I know that you've helped so many people through this and work through this and overcome this. As you know, as you and I both know so deeply, like I was somebody that felt this to an extreme measure. I mean, nothing about me was good enough. Nothing about me was good. Everything was awful about me. Like I remember I was sitting before you and Alan got together. He and I were really good friends, and he and I were sitting in my parents' house, and he asked me, is there anything that you like about yourself? And I'm like, I literally, like, I started crying. I'm like, no. And he's like, there's nothing you can say that's good about you? And I was like, no, nothing. I can't think of anything. This was years ago. And he's like, B, if I asked you to list out all of the things you don't like about yourself, how many things could you name? And I'm like, easily 25. Right now, I could list out 25 things I don't like about myself. It ruined my life for such a long time. And what I alluded to in the intro, it was because of who I was comparing to. I mean, I would see girls like you on my social media, for example, or these Instagram models or actual models or whatever. And I would see these really glamorized images all over social media of couples, of people like Priyanka Chopra and the things that she's doing in her life. And I would just look at them. And I would look at me after waking up first thing in the morning with my hair all disheveled, looking like, whatever. And I felt terrible because I could never be that. I could never look like them. I could never be who they are. And it was a fucking trap. Because they don't even look like that. Have I ever told you about my favorite movie? Have I ever talked about this?
No, I don't think so.
So when I was in utero, so when I was still in my mother's womb, they were debating between two names to give me. They were either going to name me Gia or they were going to name me Bianca. And the name Gia came from the world's very first supermodel, Gia Marie Carangi. She looked very similar to me, which is kind of funny, like really dark features. She's Italian, obviously. And she was gorgeous. Gorgeous. And she was gay, which is interesting. But she was hands down one of the most beautiful women in the world, and she hated herself. Had severe mom issues. Her mom abandoned her at a young age. So she got into this like super rebel phase, and then like they found her in the modeling world, and she became the very first supermodel of the world. But she became addicted to drugs, and she ended up dying of, I think, AIDS. And there's this scene in the movie when she's at a treatment center.
What movie is this?
It's called Gia. It's the movie. It's a movie about this
life.
girl, Gia. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And she's at a treatment center, and she's trying to tell her story, and she looks messed up because, I mean, she's recovering from like heroin or something.
Jeez.
And this woman pulls up a magazine with this girl on the cover, and she goes, "Nobody told us that you guys don't even look like this. How am I supposed to feel good about me when I'm comparing to someone that doesn't even exist?" She's like, "You don't even look like this." She's like looking at her right there. We all do this. You never did. Why?
You know what? Even as you say, like, as you're saying that, B, my brain, my automatic thought was like, how do people not know that that's false on the cover? Like,
Why
how do
wouldn't
people
they?
not know that?
Why would they?
I know from this standpoint, right, of awareness and how easy it is to not question what you do see, that is like specifically designed to make sure that it grabs your attention, right? Given the background, and just we'll focus some of my background around in marketing, right? Like one of my backgrounds, but yeah, why would they? You know, it's a fair question, because that would actually require more conscious thought, right? That would require you to not live in an imaginary world where whatever you see, you just take the first glance at it and then go into comparison mode. Like, and I share that from like, I want the listeners to know where I'm coming from. So some of my experience back in like real estate, it was the same thing. Like I would see these beautiful images of these staged homes, literally they hire thousands of dollars to go and give a staging agency to go make sure that these homes are so beautiful so that when they hit the magazines, right, people say, "Oh my God," and immediately it sparks envy. But in reality, if you were to step into that home, and I use, for the listeners who are listening to us via audio, I'm using air quotes because it's not a home. You literally would not see a human thing in that. There's no dust for a reason. Like it's not real because no one's living in that home. It's literally a staged place. No one could live in it and keep it that clean. Like that's just unrealistic. So I think about that from a real estate standpoint. And then I think about human beings, and every single human is like has a flaw within them. But to that point, how would they know?
And people don't know that though. Nobody know.
Right.
Like okay, I'm going to use me an example. Back in the day, I would see these Instagram models, and I didn't know that they were editing those. I had no reason to know that. I mean, given the experiences that I had had back in the day, and given who I was exposed to and the people surrounding me, why would I have known that? Or like, why would I have known that the houses are staged? You see these photos, or you see these like movies and these video, even if it's movies, let's say it's a movie, right?
Yeah. That's
You're
great
looking
example.
you're looking at somebody being filmed, and you're just seeing you compared to that projection.
Right.
And all you can see is, that's not me. even though we know there's makeup, even though we know there's thousands of dollars worth of whatever, millions of dollars
Lighting,
worth of lighting and
millions.
editing and whatever, the production,
Yeah.
it's still this idea that even if all of that weren't true, I would still never be at that point. I think it's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And also
tell me
the
about that.
exposure. Yeah, the exposure too to the behind the scenes. So like I
Yeah.
never really allowed that type of mind or like vision to have, like I never really spent or existed a lot of time in that because again, I'll give my parents a lot of credit to this. Like I got exposure of what the behind the scenes, like I was hands
Mm.
on before a real estate photo was taken. Like I coordinated the behind the scenes to make sure that everything looked really nice because understanding the brain when you can see yourself in that in a home, for example, right? Like some of the things are to make sure that you like clean out pictures of you and your family before you sell your house because you don't want the prospective buyer seeing another family in the family. It literally blocks the imagination. But when it comes to people, be like behind the scenes, I don't know how to articulate this. I think I need a more
No, this is
specific
good.
question.
No. This is really good. Okay. What do you think the benefits are of you having been able to do that? And then how can people start doing that in their own life? Because not everybody's going to be able to go to a house before it's staged. Nobody's going to get to see. We just saw
Yeah.
Wicked in Movie Club.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to actually see what Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo look like before, you know, the best makeup artists and hairdressers do their hair and makeup before they go on the stage of the Oscars where they look the best ever and the video and the photos are edited. So like we
Mm,
don't get to see that. So for somebody who's
fair.
for somebody who has like a severe insecurity or where they don't feel enough and they are having that horrible comparison and their younger version of themselves is like, that's never going to be me.
Yeah.
How can they start to remove that? How can they, to kind of use that movie reference, see the real person behind the magazine cover? Because
Right.
that's not, that's not, nobody does that. No,
Yeah. So here's, even when it comes to what you just said, right? For Evolve Movie Club, we watched Wicked, and shout out to Renee. She has a 200-day count to when the next Wicked is coming out, or Wicked Part 2, and we'll watch that in Movie Club. One of the things like to help people in this arena is like a year, I think you said a year before that like filming actually ever happened, Ariana Grande was changing her vocal pitch just so that she could have the high pitch vocal tonality in her voice so that when she showed up for recording a year later, she would fit the quote unquote role, right? The made up imaginative role that would be
yeah.
filmed, packaged, and produced and would be in the movie that we see on screen. And if you look at her from like even just a body standpoint, like she's like, she doesn't have any muscle mass. Like she's like, it looks like emaciated, like super skinny, which again, like I'm not body shaming, but it's like, oh my gosh, like
She looks unwell.
she doesn't look healthy. And but yet like with all the beautiful glamour and amazing costumes and everything, right? Like it's like, whoa. I think that one of the biggest things that will help people, I know actually, because I've helped my clients recognize, is that if we're just leaving it up to our snap judgments to think that it didn't take a year plus to get to that level of whatever it is, the tonality, the makeup, right? Like even Cynthia Erivo, her makeup to be green took at least 2+ hours every single time they filmed. 2 hours. So when you see someone that's green, our brain goes snap judgment and says, "Oh, whoa." Like you're not going to be like, "Oh, it probably took somewhere between like 12 and 2 hours just to like get everything together." Like people aren't thinking about what it takes to get to that place, to that which you're comparing to. And I think that what we would all benefit from, especially someone that's struggling with comparison and the comparison trap, is asking yourself when you immediately find yourself in that, ask them, how long did this take to get here? Or what artificial mechanisms were at play here? So for example, if you see someone, right, on Instagram, let's just use the most probable case that someone listening to this. You see someone on Instagram. Heck, you see Bianca and I right now. And you say, wow, they're so beautiful, right? Did they coordinate the white? Did they like, what did it take for them to show up the way in which they did? Even asking that question has you contemplating, well, they didn't just roll out of bed onto this mic. They probably got ready for their day. They probably got dressed. They probably selected white out of their own consciousnit, right? You and I just so happened to both show up on the mics with white on, which I think is hilarious. But like our hair, like my hair is all crazy because I tried braiding it before today, and it didn't really come out nice and wavy. It's like really like not as cute as B's right now. But like it took a specific level of preparation to get to where you and I are at. And you and I are like no filter Sandies over here, right? So like that's what I think is ironic, because our natural beauty, some people will look at us and say like, but I could never be like that. And or whatever intrusive comparison thought is, but like to feel good enough starts by recognizing that whoever or whatever you're comparing to, there's someone's 20-mile trek before they even got there. And for the large majority of people, that 20-mile trek or that 20 minutes of preparation or that 20 minutes of vocal range change likely was somehow artificially adjusted, be it a filter on Instagram, be it an AI background or some BS, right? Like, and
which
that's
we
what
do
we're
not
comparing
do.
to.
Which we do not
No,
do.
we
I need
don't
to
do.
emphasize that. We don't edit
We do that on
anything.
purpose so that people believe, like really understand that like we're going against the grain here, because the comparison trap is really bad. It's very detrimental.
The question that I've been asking myself lately is, would I feel the same about this person if I actually spent time with them, as opposed to what I'm seeing as the like glamorized social media post or the idea that I have in my head about them?
Yeah.
Exactly to your point, we put people on a pedestal. I mean, even someone who, let's say, is just naturally beautiful, right? Let's say you're in person with someone and they are just naturally beautiful. Okay. Why does their beauty take away from any value that you have? And why does, if you were to see someone like Cynthia Erivo or Angelina Jolie, who played Gia in the movie, or whomever, all of these people that we put on this massive pedestal, they're demonstrating a projection. They're demonstrating a projected image of themselves. That's not who they are behind the scenes. They're playing a role. They're playing a character. You're not seeing them for who they really are. Like when Beyonce is freaking at home in her pajamas with her husband and children. She's not freaking Queen Bee with her hair flowing back in the wind and like all glamorized. She looks like a scrub.
A fan follower.
Like,
it's not only just about looks though, and I want to acknowledge that, because even to the Cynthia Erivo component, like I love that song, Defying Gravity, that song so much, and my vocal tone can match that to a degree. If I compared my singing capabilities to that level of preparation, she was flying on a freaking broom while she was singing that song. And if I compared this like song lesson sing version of myself to that, I will never feel good enough. Like I will never feel like I compare to her. I went back, B, and I listened to some of her like music that she actually does as a musician. It's totally different than how she showed up in that movie. And that's what we're not doing. We're not going into that person's actual life and trying to really see what is their actual body of work outside of that one moment that we're comparing to. So it's 100%. Not just about looks. Yeah.
This could be anything. Your education, your looks, your home, your finances, whatever. if you're going to compare, number one, compare intelligently. Compare intelligently. If you're broke, don't compare to frickin' Elon Musk. Like, that's an unfair comparison. He's in his 40s and he also had a lot of help, and he also built, like, this was the only thing he did. It's an unfair comparison. When I was struggling with my finances and I was comparing to Emilia, it was an unfair comparison. Yeah, we're the same age, but we had radically different lives. We're radically different people. Make a fair comparison. Compare to where you used to be and where you want to be, or compare to people who are in similar circumstances to you. This is one of the biggest reasons why you're still struggling to feel good enough. It's because of who you're comparing to and why, and the self-judgments that you're making as a result of that. It's not fair. I started feeling good about myself, honestly, when I stopped comparing to everybody else. And I just looked at, where did I used to be and where am I now?
And that's a choice too. Like, that's where, I do see in our private practice, it's like behind the scenes, I see that we oftentimes forget, like, we exist in such like a younger version of ourselves that we forget that it's our choice to do exactly what you just said, right? It's our choice to compare ourselves to other people and choose not to think about the questions that we posed here, right? Choose not to think about, like, okay, cool, that photo that I see on Pinterest, or that video that I see on TikTok, or the song that I hear in my ears, right? Like, or that car that I see drive by. We forget that it's within our control to choose to ask ourselves, is this a fair comparison? We get to choose that not feeling good enough is a byproduct of all those micro choices, those things that we didn't do, that are evaluating our worth on a basis of someone else's quote unquote gradient or scale, instead of bringing that back into our adult self and realizing, hey, we do have autonomy and we do have control over our thoughts. That is the one thing that we do have control over. And so that's been one of the biggest game changers for a lot of people. And, be where you are now, right? I can imagine your self-esteem feels much better. Like, you feel much better about yourself. You don't feel as bad, and as like all the feelings that when you don't feel good enough, they really come and get so pervasive. I mean, you and I have talked about this, and it's like you probably feel more enough than you ever have because you've been able to control those thoughts. I mean, for the listeners, as we kind of round out this episode, like, what does it feel like to be on the other end of controlling your thoughts so that you feel good enough based on what you choose to be the gauging point?
I only feel good enough because I've done that work that we're talking about for years. If you look back on your life and you're not in a better space, that's okay. Start now. The time is going to go by anyways. I was looking at, just as we're wrapping up, I had an intuitive ping yesterday to go into my Instagram story archives. And it was a trip.
Oh, baby.
It only allowed me to go back to 2017. So I'm looking
said the
at
rest is not okay.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Sorry.
It's true. It only allowed me to go back to 2017. So I was looking at my old story, and I started crying. I'm looking at these photos and these posts I was putting it up, and it was like, I didn't see me for the truth. I didn't see how great I was. I didn't see how valuable I was. I thought I was this horrible, ugly, disgusting person that nobody would ever want, and I acted based on it.
Yeah,
and the only reason,
thought, right?
Based on that thought,
yeah,
that distorted thought and that distorted belief, and every outcome that I got was a result of that. And I look at myself now, and the only reason that there is a difference is because I made that choice to do something different.
Hey, responsibility. I'm so proud of you, V. Because now hopefully people listening to this episode, like, they can hear just from two chicks on a mic, that may or may not have some, like, education and some background and some, qualifications that have sufficient evidence underneath the fact that like we do, kind of know a thing or two. But like back then we didn't.
I didn't know
like
shit back in the
you're
day.
giving people the hope, right? The hope that the trek is worth it. It's not only possible, it's possible for them and it's worth it. Good on you. And
Thank
also
you, friend.
the amount of courage to go back and look at that and then like be in the feels and sit and cry. And then hopefully what you did after that is self-assigned all of the work that you've done to date back to yourself, because you have done the work. You have chosen not to just sit in your own pity party and your victim blaming of self, which is what a lot of people do. Like we've all been there at one point or another. When we feel like shit about ourselves, it's so easy to play the victim card and just continue to have that be our life and blame everyone else for being where we are, instead of actually taking accountability and responsibility for feeling good enough, for feeling damn good about ourselves and moving the needle forward. So good on you. And I hope that's what you did.
That's exactly
Is that what you did?
That's exactly what I did.
Hey,
I was looking at my old self and I was just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you felt that way. You didn't see the truth. And I'm glad you finally do. It was amazing. And if you're not there yet, and if you can't do that, that's okay. Let it start now. Let it start now. It took me 7 years to get here. Like, really think about that. I'm not even close to where I want to be. I mean, Emilia and I are the same age. She's like 30 years ahead of me, and we're the same age. More than
Emilia
that.
is 85 years old. But also like a 7-year-old child. I'm talking about
Emilia
me when I say
and her
Emilia.
brain. Yeah. That's not a fair comparison. So I compare to me. I took 7 years to get to where I am, and I'm not even close to where I'm going to be. And the same thing is true for you. You're not even close to where you're going to be yet. Give yourself the permission now. And give yourself the chance to see what a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year of really dedicated progress and work can do for you. Emilia and I have worked with thousands of people at this point. We've seen it happen for other people. So don't just take it from us. Go look at the testimonials on the Evolve Ventures website. Look at the people in Evolve Venture Society who put comments all the time about the growth that they've had. We did it. They did it. You can do it too. That's my final takeaway. And my episode suggestion is 385. Are you protecting your inner child?
Oh, good one. Yes, you can do it too. I will echo that from the top and the bottom of the mountaintops. Number 342, why you feel you can never do enough. If you're someone who loves the why type topics that we do, loves the underpinning of our behavior, that episode goes a little bit deeper into some of the why we might still be struggling. If this episode didn't already touch on it, this episode will go a little bit deeper. And honestly, both of those episodes are so powerful to extend after you listen to these. So this was fun. I appreciate us being both of who we are in this episode and hopefully, dear listener, you take this as the moment, because I really like what you said a little bit earlier, which was the time's going to pass anyways. It's what you do with that time that is up to you. So hopefully this inspires or just ignites someone to do maybe something a little different this time. And that's all we can hope for. And that is why we show up every single day doing what we do and doing what
100%.
we love to do. So we will see y'all in the next episode. I'm so excited for this one because I personally have some stuff around this. So I'm excited to share that. B, anything in closing?
If you are struggling with this, please reach out. All right. Cool. Bye, everybody.